Now, from Into Tomorrow, this is an ITTV special report.
Our next guest says the PC gaming platform is quickly evolving, probably an understatement. Notebooks now outship desktop PCs, and game-capable PCs on the market outnumber the install base of the PS2, PS3, Xbox 360, and Wii combined. Think about that for a second. There's a lot of fun things happening in this industry, and especially from the PC end of the world. He's Director of Product Management for Visual Computing Software Division with Intel Software and Services Group, Roger Chandler. Roger, welcome back Into Tomorrow. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Dave?
Doing fine. Thanks again for putting up with us and giving us a little space to do our show this year.
No problem. My
here
pleasure.
in the Intel exhibit. We had you on last year and talking about a bunch of fun things going on there. You've been doing quite an interesting blog, among other things, as a matter of fact. Yeah. And Rob ran across that and sent it over to me. And there's some pretty cool things where you're talking about some stuff that we're going to get into in a minute. But first, want to get into what's happening from Intel's standpoint. In your introduction, some pretty interesting stats about what's going on in this industry and how the PC is playing such an important role.
Yeah. So, Intel is very excited about the PC platform in general. We're a champion for the PC platform for gamers, have been for years. And with the PC, we're seeing a lot of changes occurring. I was talking to a pretty prominent developer a couple of weeks ago, and the way he was describing it was, it's like one of those movies where, the main character wakes up in a hospital and the whole world has changed.
Yeah, he's been in a coma for 3 years or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah. So it's just, in the past couple of years, we've seen so many different things. First off, just from an Intel perspective, we've seen a significant evolution of the graphics capabilities of the platform. And we've integrated that stuff into the CPU. So it's basically with an Intel CPU, you can now, just the CPU, play great games and have a great time with it.
Don't need a separate video card just to be able to play games and to enjoy them and to immerse yourself. The CPU's doing it all.
Yeah, well, the CPU is for mainstream games, for a lot of the games that are out there that sell in the millions. This is a great solution and a great platform for that. And it's so we're pretty excited about that. But as you mentioned, as your lead in, you're seeing notebooks have surpassed desktops. So there's a kind of a transition occurring. You're seeing things like netbooks and tablets and all of these computing devices that developers see as yet another screen for which they can reach more customers. And you got a lot of Intel hardware powering those. So we're really excited about that.
And how it's changing the gaming world too. Those same developers that you're referencing are looking at people on their tablets and more now, certainly with Android coming out and everything else, and saying, my gosh, we've got to make sure we're on those platforms in order for our games to be as successful as we hope they will be.
Well, you're definitely seeing new platforms kind of emerging. 4 years ago, I don't think folks would have thought that there would be a phone out there that folks are playing all these games on. But last year I was reading an article where of the top 10 applications sold on the iPhone, all 10 were games.
Wow!
I mean, it's also a pretty good gaming platform. What we're seeing, though, is there's kind of a resurgence in the PC platform specifically. There's a lot of things happening with the business models. You're seeing new business models. It's not just retail. Traditionally you went to a store, you bought your boxed game, and you took it home and you installed it. Well, digital distribution has surpassed retail as the way people get their games in the PC space.
So more people are downloading than going to a store and buying.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that's changing things. So it's basically allowing developers to more easily reach their end users. There's a guy named Marcus Persson. He's with his company developed this game called Minecraft. It won a couple awards here last night, Game Developer Awards. But more than 1 million units sold. More than 4 million registered users. I mean, the guy developed the game pretty much on his own and sold it from his own website. I mean, how's that for, who doesn't dream about doing something like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's true entrepreneurship in any industry, in any business, but for gaming, that's still relatively unheard of for that kind of success.
Yeah, and it's a PC game.
Wow.
So lots of changes there in the business models. We're also seeing lots of changes in the user base. I have kids, and I'm obviously, as a parent, I'm concerned about what kinds of games they play, how long they play. I mean, every parent should be. But I'm also very interested in the gaming habits of grown-ups. And, there's a lot of studies been done where, 40% of gamers have been identified as female.
And who would have thunk it? I mean, we've talked about this on the show on and off the last couple of years, for that matter, and it's amazing. And then we have that part of our audience, the ladies are calling in saying, oh, yeah, for some time now I'm into it and loving it and getting more and more into it, and that's great.
Well, really cool story. Last week I actually traveled back east home, and I was with family, and I visited the mother of one of the friends I grew up with, and she's probably in her 70s, and we're talking, and I had a couple of my kids with me, and she starts talking about the games she's playing, and I'm thinking, she's playing bridge or solitaire.
Yeah.
She's playing hardcore games. Like, she's talking about how she just finished Dragon Age. She's playing games that I get stuck on in levels. And it was really interesting because she uses it as it's a way that she just passes the time, keeps her sharp, and that was really interesting. My kids were very impressed.
Oh, I'll bet. Especially now they're able to talk to her and communicate in such a way. They're sharing something, and whether it's with your own grandma or grandpa or otherwise, you're sharing something that you probably otherwise wouldn't have if it weren't for gaming.
Exactly.
It's a whole different, we've talked on the show earlier today too about it, it's a whole different social networking scheme too. That who would have thunk that? Look at Farmville, for example.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're talking about waking up and everything's changed. I mean, 3-4 years ago, who would have thought that you're going to see these Facebook game developers selling for hundreds of millions of dollars, or someone launching a game within Facebook and within 9 months they've got 80 million users.
Oh,
I mean, but
people are in business 30, 40 years and don't have 80 million customers.
Yeah.
They're in business less than a year. No wonder they were making a fortune early on.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's making a lot of the industry wake up to, there are new changes. The demographics have changed, as well as the platforms have evolved, motion control, this type of thing. New technologies coming in, like our platforms that we talked about earlier, and the business model. So all in all, it's a pretty exciting time to be in the PC gaming business.
What are you playing these days, Roger? What's got you escaping from reality that you're having a good time with?
Well, I've been on this big indie game kick. I feel like there's a tremendous amount of innovation occurring there. So there's a game I've been playing. It's called Amnesia. It's a game that won.
And yet you remember it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called. So. Yeah, that's pretty fun. A bunch of indie games, though. I'm really into those right now.
Ah, very cool. Well, you want to check out all the cool things that Roger and his team are up to, visit Intel.com. Always a pleasure to have you on. We're always looking at some new takes. You got a great blog. I don't know if there's a short way to get people there on the Intel site, but search for you or what?
I think you could pretty much Google Roger, Intel, and zombies, and you'll find it.
There you go. Not sure if I like the connection, but okay. Roger, Intel, and zombies. You're going to find, for example, Solitude and Zombies waking up to a new gaming industry. And boy, does he hit the nail on the head with a whole bunch of cool points. Intel.com for more. While you're at it, IntoTomorrow.com, where we link you to all of our guests from the Intel exhibit here at the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco. Back with more right after this.